If you're feeling burnt out from the previous school year while trying to kick off a new school year, you may be wondering if it's time to make the leap and leave the classroom. But how do you know if it's time? Deciding to leave the classroom can bring up a whirlwind of emotions, from fear and anxiety to curiosity and excitement. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the warning signs that it may be time to leave the classroom and how a career in instructional design may be exactly what you're looking for. Hello, I'm Sabrina, and I just transitioned to instructional design from teaching this year. In June of 2022, I left the classroom after teaching math for 9 years, and deciding to leave was the most tumultuous event of my career. But why are so many teachers leaving education? Well, some teachers leave because of poor administration or bad student behaviors, and that's valid. Or there's other teachers like me who leave for their mental health. Teaching was no longer a healthy career for me. I didn't have the work-life balance that I needed to take care of my mental health. And that poor work-life balance is just one of the warning signs that it's time to leave the classroom. Let's talk about a few more. One of the warning signs that can be the hardest to deal with is letting go of your dream. Not many people just stumble into teaching. Either it's something you dreamt about since you were a kid, or you had a teacher of your own that inspired you to become an educator. And once you had that idea that you were going to be a teacher, you may have started envisioning your classroom, imagining those deep, rich conversations you're going to have with students. That excitement of making an impact every day, starts to fill your head. And this respect and recognition for the work you do is really exciting. But that's not really the reality, is it? Teaching's not really the career you thought it would be. Maybe for some people it is, and everything they envisioned, they're getting to do in their classroom every day. And that's fantastic. But the reality for a lot of teachers is that it's nothing like they imagined. They're not getting to have those deep conversations. They're not getting to do all of the things that they thought they would be able to do as teachers. Another warning sign is that you're undervalued and distrusted. You're with your kiddos every single day. Nobody knows them better than you do. Nobody knows their strengths, how they learn, their needs better than you. But do you get to do what's best for your students? Or is there a calendar telling you that you need to move on, even though you know it's not time? That if those kids had one more day on this topic, it would click, they'd get it. But calendar says it's time to move on, so we better move on. Another warning sign is you don't get to be creative. And I don't mean decorating your classroom, which was also one of my favorite things to do. But I mean being creative in the learning solutions that you develop. Do you get to create these rich, engaging lessons for your kids? Or, again, are you stuck to this calendar that's telling you, nope, they got to move on. You don't have time to do these kinds of things. Do you get to implement those engaging lessons? Or just keep moving, stick to the curriculum, because that's what you have to do. This next warning sign is a big one that I know many teachers deal with. You're burnt out. Maybe there was a time that you were the first one in the building, the last one to leave, because you were just so excited about the things that were happening in your classroom. But you don't feel that way anymore. And maybe you're getting to the point where you have to convince yourself to get to work in the morning because it's just not, you're not able to just use that passion to get you there anymore. I know for me, when I was starting to feel burnt out, it wasn't so much trying to drag myself to get to work in the morning. It was trying to ease the anxiety I felt about getting to work. Of just is my anxiety going to be really bad today? Is it going to be so bad that I need to step out of my classroom to take some deep breaths or meditate or something? And that was really I knew I was so burnt out because my anxiety was so high every day. As a teacher, I'm sure you have a love for learning, but has your career reached a plateau? You don't get to grow as a professional, and maybe you're just attending these professional developments because you have to, right, to check a box. And we all have been to those professional developments when they say no, this is for everybody, every content. And then you get there and they never use your content as an example. As a former math teacher, that speaks so true to me, where they'd say yeah, this content is for everyone, even math teachers can use this. And you feel really hopeful, and then there's no math examples. And so you ask, oh yeah, how could you see this being used in a math classroom? And they're oh, well, we don't really have examples. But this is for everybody, right? And so having to attend those things that are for everybody, but aren't really for everybody, isn't really helpful. It's not helping you grow as a professional. It's also unfortunate as an educator that there's not really many opportunities for advancement, right? The number of jobs outside of teaching, like still in education, like administrative levels and things like that, coaching, things like that, there's not that many of them. And even to do those, you have to continue to get advanced degrees. And that's unfortunate because those degrees are so expensive. And the time it takes for those is really a lot sometimes. And with that idea of getting these expensive advanced degrees, it's no secret that teachers are underpaid. The average teacher salary from salary.com is about $57,000, which to me, honestly, that was surprising because even after 9 years of teaching, I wasn't making close to that. I was still making much less than $57,000. And that's unfortunate because I was working hard. My kids were growing. I was even like teacher of the year one year, but I still wasn't making that. So if you connected with one or more of those warning signs, then that may be a sign that it's time to leave the classroom and transition into something that's better for you and for your mental health. Experiencing just a few of those warning signs is what made me decide to leave the classroom. But that decision to leave only brought up more questions and struggles. When I decided to leave the classroom, I was really lost. I didn't know what I was going to do next, really. I had an idea, but I felt really lost because if I wasn't a teacher, then who am I? My career now as an instructional designer really has been fulfilling and has filled all of those needs that I was missing as a teacher. My career as an instructional designer has been rejuvenating. I have a new purpose. As an instructional designer, you can solve problems with learning experiences. Everything you do has learning at the forefront. I know when I left teaching, I felt a little bit guilty, right? Because before I had this purpose of helping kids learn. But now I have this new purpose where I am still helping people learn because I know that the courses I create are all solving real world problems. And as a bootcamp pro, I get to help people upskill and get into a career that I know is going to be fulfilling for them, which in return is really fulfilling for me. As an instructional designer, you're trusted and valued. You are the expert when it comes to learning theory. You also play a critical role in improving the quality and education of training by creating really effective learning experiences. With a course that I've recently worked on, I get the information from the SME, I get all the content from the SME, but I'm trusted to do what I need to do with that content in order to create the best learning experience. Nobody questions what I'm doing because I'm trusted. And when I create these learning experiences, they see the value in my work. One of the most fulfilling parts of being an instructional designer for me is that I'm encouraged to be creative. Problem solving, critical thinking, creativity are all skills that you are encouraged to have as an instructional designer. Instructional designers have the opportunity to blend that creativity and their learning expertise to create the most impactful learning experiences for their learners through storytelling, scenario-based learning, gamification, visual design, and finding creative ways to give the learner feedback. One of my favorite things to create are scenario-based learning experiences, even if they're really small ones too. I just love doing it because that storytelling piece is really exciting for me. I find a lot of creativity in doing that. Visual design is one of my favorite things to do, from editing characters and backgrounds and things like that. And then on top of that, and getting to come up with these consequences is so much fun, right? You want it to be memorable for learners, but it also has to be realistic. And so getting to explore all of these different options and even talking with subject matter experts and saying like, is this realistic? Is this something that could happen, so that you can implement it into your learning experience, are all really exciting, fun things to do. And I really love this ability to be creative, have this creative outlet. As a bootcamp pro, I still get to flex that creative muscle too by looking at so many different projects and helping so many different people and looking at the things they're doing, getting ideas for myself, giving them some ideas of things I've done, and just getting that communication to like really collaborate on these projects and give them feedback. So it's been really cool that I get to like be creative in that way as well. Like I mentioned earlier, my career as an ID has been really rejuvenating, and I have time for me. There is a better work-life balance. I've been able to take care of my mental health. I can take a mental health day too if I need it without feeling guilty. But if I'm being honest, there's a lot of times that I find it hard to step away from my computer. Not because I feel like I have so much work to do and that I need to get it all done, but because I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. Whatever I'm working on, I'm usually so deep into it that I don't want to step away because I'm loving how things are turning out and I just want to get finished so that I can kind of go through it and see what's going on. And I'm just really excited about the things I'm working on. Or as a bootcamp pro, there's times where I'll get a notification from a bootcamper saying that they've made edits and they're ready for me to take another look. And I'm so excited to see what they've done and I want to look at it. So I have this like newfound passion for my career. It started like that with teaching, but as I got burnt out, it wasn't there anymore. And I feel that now as an instructional designer and a bootcamp pro. As someone with a love of learning, instructional designing is so appealing because you have opportunities for growth. You can choose your professional path. You attend the webinars and conferences that are of interest to you, that align with your goals. And you don't need advanced degrees to move up. I'm freelancing as an instructional designer and I don't need a master's degree. And I can move into a corporate job, and there are people in corporate ID jobs who are moving up and advancing without those advanced degrees. And another thing that I really love is I've attended a lot of webinars and have completed LinkedIn courses, all because they were interesting to me and they align with my professional goals. As a teacher, a lot of people don't go into education for money, but it is nice to have that cushion, right? To have that money and you don't have to worry about things. So as an instructional designer, you'll earn what you deserve. There's no need to have a second job or live paycheck to paycheck or worry about if you're going to be able to make ends meet. According to salary.com, the average instructional design salary is $85,000, and that is quite a step up from the average teaching salary. Along with the higher salary, it's a better work-life balance. There are lots of remote opportunities, plenty of full-time jobs and part-time jobs, and if you don't want to have a ceiling on your income, you can become a freelance instructional designer. You can check out Devlin's video if you're not too sure about freelancing yet. Devlin did a video, how to start an instructional design side business. So if you're thinking like, no, maybe I want to be a corporate ID, but I want to toy with this idea of freelancing, check out that video and he explains more there. Or if you're interested in freelancing, you can check out my video on how I landed my first client. Instructional design is a great career choice for educators because you can still find fulfillment in helping people learn. You don't need to stay stuck and feel undervalued and burnt out. All of the things that you're missing in teaching, you can find in a career in instructional design. So how did I become an instructional designer? I knew that I wanted structure in my upskilling journey, so I joined Devlin's Instructional Design Bootcamp, where I learned in-demand skills and created a standout portfolio. If you're interested in the bootcamp and receiving personalized feedback from me, Devlin, and the team, then go ahead and go to idbootcamp.com. If you're not ready to join the bootcamp, then be sure to download the free Become an ID checklist and subscribe for more content. Thanks for staying till the end. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.